imagine someone flatlining for nearly half an hour and then waking up with these really vivid, detailed memories. We're talking a crystal city, angelic beings, even like glimpses of the future.
Yeah.
Sounds almost impossible, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. I mean, it pushes the boundaries of what we typically understand as possible.
Yeah.
Yet this isn't science fiction, is it? We're about to dive into the astonishing near-death experience and NDE of former U.S. Marine Dannion Brinkley.
That's right. Back in 1975, Dannion Brinkley was struck by lightning.
Struck by lightning.
Yeah, and pronounced clinically dead for about 28 minutes.
28 minutes.
Meaning, heart stop, breathing stop, no detectable brain activity on the machine.
Clinically gone.
Exactly. And then somehow, against all the odds, he revived.
Incredible.
So our mission today, really, is to peel back the layers of this pretty extraordinary account.
Okay.
We'll explore exactly what he claimed he saw, what he experienced during those minutes, how this whole thing, this profound event, just completely changed him.
Right, the aftermath.
And also what science can tell us, or maybe what it can't tell us, about these kinds of, unexplainable phenomena.
And what really makes Brinkley's account stand out, I think, from maybe some other anecdotal NDEs, is the documentation around it.
You mean the medical side?
Yeah, well, it starts with that lightning strike, which was apparently incredibly dramatic. It paralyzed him, killed him instantly.
Right.
He was taken to a hospital, officially pronounced dead, and this is wild. Moved to a morgue drawer.
Moved to the morgue. Okay, so just to be absolutely clear for everyone listening, medical records actually verified this. The 28 minutes, no heartbeat, no breathing, no brain activity.
That's the verification, yes. It wasn't just, a flicker. It was sustained clinical death. He was gone by all standard medical definitions.
And then he came back to life while still in the morgue.
While still in the morgue, according to his account in the reports. I mean, that part alone makes his case a really profound outlier in medical history.
Absolutely.
And it's really what he claimed happened during those 28 minutes. That's the core of what we're digging into today.
Right. So what did he say?
Brinkley described traveling through a shimmering tunnel.
Okay, the tunnel motif, we hear that sometimes.
We do. And this tunnel, for him, led into what he called a cathedral of knowledge.
A cathedral of knowledge. That sounds significant, not just a vague feeling.
Not according to him. He claimed this place, this cathedral, was populated by 13 beings. Angelic beings, he described them as.
13, okay.
And these beings supposedly shared with him over 100 revelations about the future.
100? Future events?
Yeah, he talked about absorbing cosmic truths, seeing specific events unfold, things he insists later actually came to pass.
So not just like symbolic visions, but actual predictions.
That was his assertion, yes. Precise predictions in his telling.
Wow. And then after he recovered, obviously he did recover, he wrote about this.
He did. Crucially, he wrote a book called Saved by the Light.
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
Very likely. It became a huge New York Times bestseller. Its impact was pretty significant. Actually, it was even adapted into a TV movie back in 1995. Reached a massive audience.
Okay, so this story got out there.
Very much so. And the story didn't stop there. He later reported having 2 more NDEs.
2 more. After the lightning strike.
Yes, including one during heart surgery, apparently. He claimed he reunited with those same angelic guides.
The 13 beings again.
So he claimed. And he said that as a direct result of these experiences, he developed psychic abilities.
Psychic abilities, okay, that adds another layer entirely.
It does. And he then dedicated himself to using these abilities, as he saw them, to help others, particularly offering comfort to dying veterans.
So this brings us to a really critical question, I suppose. How do we even approach an experience like this? It's so profound, but also deeply subjective.
Exactly. While Brinkley's personal testimony is, very compelling on its own, medical research has started to look into this wider phenomenon of what they sometimes call accurate awareness during clinical death.
Right, you mean studies like the AWARE study, led by Dr. Sam Parney, I think.
Precisely. That's a key one.
And didn't that find that a small number of patients, maybe like 2%, reported being accurately aware while they were clinically dead?
Yes, a small but significant percentage. And what's really intriguing, as you say, is that these weren't just vague feelings or dreams. No, these were verifiable observations. People reporting specific events happening around them, sometimes even outside the room, things they couldn't possibly have known through normal sight or hearing because, they were clinically dead.
Details they could check later.
Details that were later verified in some cases. And this level of sort of verifiable detail, it profoundly challenges the standard scientific view, doesn't it?
Which is that consciousness is just a product of the brain.
Essentially, yes. That consciousness is solely an emergent property of a functioning brain. If you can have verifiable consciousness when the brain shows no signs of clinical activity, well, that suggests consciousness might, in some extreme cases, decouple from the physical brain.
Wow. That's a big implication.
It's huge. It's not just an anomaly anymore. It's actual data that makes us pause and maybe reconsider some fundamental assumptions about the mind, about consciousness itself.
Okay, so the AWARE study provides some intriguing, broader context. But, the scientific community often has reservations about individual NDE accounts like Brinkley's, right? They're a counter-argument.
Oh, absolutely, and we need to look at those critically.
So could Brinkley's incredibly vivid story maybe stem from something else, like altered brain chemistry, maybe triggered by the massive electrical trauma of the lightning strike, or perhaps a stroke during the event?
That's a very valid neuroscientific perspective, and it's often raised. One theory, somewhat speculative of course, is that the intense electrical jolt could have triggered powerful hallucinatory effects.
Like illusions.
Vivid illusions, yeah. Maybe those life review type sensations people sometimes report. The brain, under extreme duress, perhaps during the resuscitation process itself, might conjure up these really elaborate visions.
And then memory could shape them afterwards.
Exactly. Memory distortion, or even, some might argue, fantasy, could then mold these intense neurological events into a coherent, detailed narrative after the fact.
Okay, that's a pretty compelling explanation from a purely materialist standpoint. Brain under stress does weird things.
It can, yes.
But then, for people who believe there might be more to it, where does that leave the idea of consciousness existing independently? And what about those predictions he claimed were accurate?
Right. The predictions are a sticking point for the purely neurological explanation.
This is where you get into that sort of cross-dimensional glimpse theory, isn't it?
Indeed. That's the alternative interpretation. It posits that if consciousness isn't solely locked inside the brain, then maybe Brinkley experienced a genuine, albeit brief, peek into another reality, another dimension, a concept that, well, if it were ever proven, would fundamentally reshape our entire understanding of existence.
Moving beyond just the physical universe as we know it.
Precisely. Beyond a purely materialist view. And this perspective often draws support from elements like those claimed accurate predictions, and also the undeniable profound changes in his life after the NDE.
The transformation.
Yes, suggesting that something genuinely external, something deeply profound, must have occurred to cause such a shift.
So we're kind of left wrestling with this huge question, aren't we? Did Dannion Brinkley truly cross into some kind of cathedral of knowledge filled with angelic beings, getting glimpses of the future and cosmic truths? Or were these incredibly powerful, maybe uniquely elaborate hallucinations triggered by the extreme physical trauma, the lightning, the lack of oxygen, the stress on his brain?
And it's possible we may never know for certain which interpretation is correct, or if it's perhaps a mix of factors we don't fully understand yet.
True. But regardless of how you interpret the origin of his experience, the impact on his life seems undeniable. That transformation is clear.
Absolutely. It led him to write Saved by the Light, which reached so many people. And he seems to have genuinely dedicated decades to helping others, particularly veterans. It fundamentally altered his life's path.
Which really brings us to a final provocative thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on.
Okay.
What if experiences like Dannion Brinkley's and others who report this accurate awareness, specific verifiable details, while clinically dead, what if they really do challenge our basic understanding of consciousness itself?
What if?
What if there are, messages or insights from these glimpses beyond the veil that maybe we're only just starting to comprehend?
Urging us to consider what else might exist.
Yeah, what else might be out there beyond what our current science can readily explain. It certainly makes you wonder about the sheer complexity of our own minds. Or maybe, just maybe, something even beyond that.
Definitely something to ponder.
Something to think about until next time.